Dear friends, good morning on Monday the 11th of January. In the account of Joseph in the book of Genesis, Joseph becomes Prime Minister of Egypt by a series of extraordinary events, including being thrown into a pit and left for dead by his brothers, being sold into slavery in Egypt, escaping the amorous advances of his Egyptian master's wife, being thrown into prison, using his amazing gift of being able to interpret dreams, and eventually being asked to interpret Pharaoh's dreams of 7 sleek and fat cows who are eaten up by 7 gaunt and skinny ones, and then 7 healthy and good stalks of corn, which are swallowed up by 7 thin and scorched heads of corn. Joseph correctly interprets these dreams as prophecies of 7 years of great abundance in Egypt, followed by 7 years of famine. Pharaoh is so impressed by Joseph's gifts of discernment and wisdom that he puts him in charge of the whole land of Egypt. And so Joseph finds himself in charge of the storage of grain during the 7 years of abundance and the sale and distribution of grain during the 7 years of famine. And he eventually becomes the source of amazing blessing to Egypt and eventually salvation to his own people. Do reread the story. Well, as I was reading it recently, it occurred to me that in some ways we are in a similar position to Joseph. God's means of blessing his world has been revealed to us in the gospel, and we as a church have been blessed by abundance for many, many years. Now, in a time of pandemic, we have massive opportunities to share our abundance with our nation. And this is happening in so many ways, as churches are literally feeding the hungry through food banks and feeding programs like our Saturday Kitchen. But we also have got great opportunities to share our spiritual blessings with the nation, and this is happening as well. Churches have reported hugely increased engagement online and renewal of spiritual interest, especially amongst younger people. We've been trying to reach out to our community with the other churches in Cheltenham. We think that well over 1,000 people came to the Love Cheltenham Carols by Carlight, and as a result 23 guests have signed up for Alpha, which begins on Thursday. By the way, it's not too late to sign up if you know somebody who would like to come. But wouldn't it be wonderful if one of the results of the pandemic was the spiritual renewal of our nation? Well, let's carry on doing our best to share the abundance that's been given to us during this third lockdown. But there is one other point in the account of Joseph that we shouldn't miss, because in many ways, Joseph points us to Jesus. Jesus was also rejected by his brothers and left for dead, but he was raised to life from the pit of death to bring salvation to his people and eventually to the whole world. It is Jesus who is the great provider of spiritual abundance during the time of famine, and who turns evil and tragedy into triumph and salvation. As Joseph says to his brothers at the end of the story, "You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good, to accomplish what is now being done, the saving of many lives." And just the same could be said of Jesus as well. God bless you today.